Create with Fran Sydney. Hello everyone and welcome to the show. This is Fran Sydney and welcome to episode 170, 3 years of podcasting. Wow, it's a long while and we've been talking about so much stuff. It's incredible. All here designed for you to create the life that you want, instead of sitting there like a victim and think, oh, this is happening, that's happening, I can't do this and I can't do that. And today I really want to talk about this victim thing, that this attitude that we have, that things are going to go wrong, things are not going to work out, things always go in the wrong direction because we are just not lucky. We can't control ourselves, we can't win anything. It's a bit of a negative bias, and I've been looking around for some expertise to shed a bit more light about this negative thinking, and I found an amazing person called Olivia Brito, and I invited her to my studio. So welcome to the show.
Hi, Franz. Thank you very much. That's a lovely introduction. Thank you very much. I'm very excited to join your amazing podcast. I hear that it's coming, going from strength to strength and going up the ranks. So well done. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
It's a pleasure for me, and I have to say it's very exciting to know we are reaching more people. So if you guys have any friends that want to know how to live a better life, just send them a link to this episode and they will do it, and it will be a great favor. And I chose in particular Olivia because she really talks about things that we need to know now, right now, in the run up to Christmas, the stressful period in November, running up, because all the people know it's only 4 Sundays, so it's 4 weeks go really fast, so they start having all these parties and things before, so you have to be everywhere, you have to do everything, and there's a pressure to eat, to drink, to go out and do parties, to have fun, to be there, to buy stuff, and it's like for some people that's too much. And they start crashing before Christmas has arrived completely, So I thought, well, can we talk a little bit about what are the symptoms of this negative bias and negative thinking that can affect us when we are under the stress of you must have fun during the festivities? Well, actually, the Christmas festivities is not about having fun, but this has been completely eroded by the new society we have, which is all consumeristic, so we have to tick the boxes, you have to do stuff that is nothing to do with our happiness, really. It's about showing to people the Instagram perfect, the Pinterest perfect, that we have to look amazing and having a lot of fun, and it's just crashing. For some people who are lonely and trying maybe to lose weight, trying to be fit, trying just to be positive and to cope with all the other problems, that's too much. So can you talk about a little bit about the symptoms? What do you notice when people are suffering from this negative bias?
Well, the first thing to know or to recognize is that we all have or suffer from negativity bias. So what is negativity bias? Negativity bias is our tendency to note and be aware of all risks, whether they are real, potential, or just simply a stretch of our imagination. When we're extra cautious, when we're always thinking that the worst can happen, even if we don't have any evidence of the worst that can happen, or any other bad occurrence have ever happened. So we just go into this default mode into what's the worst that can happen. And this is a feature of nature that we all have, and that has helped us survive to where we are today. So it's not all bad, it's actually a survival feature that has helped us to look out, to remain in safety. So there is, and why is this important? How can we apply it today and to this topic in specific? In our primitive brain, there is no reward for positive thinking. So if you think about it, if you are always looking out for danger and you find some danger out of 100 thoughts of danger, you find one danger and that could save your life, or that could prevent you from breaking a bone, or that could prevent you some harm, that is a reward. So that will say, see, I told you so. You need to look out for danger. But if you're thinking that everything is fine, there is no problems, nothing wrong will ever happen, and nothing does, what is the reward? There is no reward. So that's why we have learned over millions of years to evolve to look out for danger. This is more present in females than males because that's how we are designed in our DNA. But the good news is that we can change this thinking, knowing that we are primed to look out for what's wrong. Having that awareness is the first step to be able to change it. Because luckily, our brains are really clever, really smart, and we have neuroplasticity. And this means that we can change it. The mere act of thinking differently, being open to a different path, to be open to a different perspective, that alone helps our brain to physically reconnect in a different way, different pathways, to help us against negativity bias. So we can cultivate positivity bias. That doesn't negate the negativity because, yes, problems will always exist, challenges, we will always need to find solutions, we will always have to deal with life because that is life, finding solutions, but also we can enjoy it. And that's the part that I think sometimes we forget, and we need podcasts like this to help us remind us that we need, it's our right to enjoy life, to build up positivity, to enjoy everything we do, everything we eat, right? Without guilt, without shame, without any of that, we can just take the joy, but it's a training.
You are spot on. And isn't life about growing, learning, loving, and really enjoying every day? Because I see people who have materially thinking everything, the looks, the car, the house, the job, you name it, they have it, the perfect family from outside, but they're not inside very happy because maybe there are things that are not quite right. And we have to really look inside to see what's going on. So isn't that a thing that has to be really connected with a habit of thinking? And I remember, what was it? I can't remember. I read so many authors, but one of them was saying, during a panic attack, for example, you could look around and ask yourself, what is it around me that I'm not noticing while I'm so focused about the symptoms of a panic attack? And although the majority of people are not suffering daily from panic attacks, it is worth observing that if we keep focusing on what can go wrong, we are going to miss the very interesting, good and precious things that can make us feel content and nourished and happy. So what happens when a person keeps living in this way, discounting the good and always looking for what can go wrong, what can people do to hurt us, or maybe the self-harming habits that we have with self-sabotage, procrastination, emotional eating? What will be the consequence if a person says, well, I can't afford therapy and I'm not going to read a book, I'm not going to do a course because nothing can help me because I'm special, I'm different. So what will happen down the line in 10, 20 years, in your experience, professionally speaking?
Well, if we look at this topic, at negative thinking, negativity bias, and positivity bias, like a training, we are phenomenal, most of us, at negativity bias. We're phenomenal. Why? Because we've been training since we were little. When you are, for a lot of children, I'm not saying this is true for everyone, a lot of children, when they are toddlers, they are told, don't do this, you're going to fall. Don't run because this is going to happen. You are going to hurt your knee, you're going to break, you're going to do that. all these dangers, we have it as a feature in our DNA, but also because we have it as a feature in our DNA, it means that the adults around us have it as a feature in their DNA. So the new generations are built up, but they grow in this environment where they are actively taught to find danger in everything, in everywhere. Even though the mere act of walking involves danger because you have to fall, that's dangerous. And then you have to pick up, fall, pick up, fall, pick up, fall, pick up. So we need to understand that that's what it happens. So we've been training since we were little. We've been trained into this way of thinking and carry on and continue thinking this way. So what is going to happen down the line it's like a trend. If we continue the trend, it's like a muscle, it's a training. It'll just grow to become stronger if we let it be. If we don't encounter the awareness or the information that this is a feature that can be corrected. We can keep the benefits of negative thinking, because there is benefits. It's our intuition when we sense something is not quite right. When we think, I may not go in the dark in a forest at night because it may be dangerous. Yes, it's a little bit of common sense with our intuition, and we need to keep the reins of it. So what will happen? It'll grow stronger. What you cultivate, what you train, it will grow stronger. Whether it's negativity bias or positivity bias, we can choose.
It sounds a little bit like Scrooge, the movie. And because he sees problems everywhere until the three ghosts from the past, or whatever they're called, come to him and tell him, well, that's what's going to happen, darling. If you keep going like that, you're going to have this problem and that problem. And then suddenly he experiences this change. And although I'm not wishing anyone to see such a ghost shackled with all the chains appearing in the middle of the night to show us our future, there is always the moment of recollection and thinking and reflection when we realize, if I keep being that negative about people around me, about what I can do, about my possibilities, what am I going to build in my brain? And I would like you to maybe spend a minute to explain, if you like, what is happening when we start thinking negative, like using the RAS system and the connection between the synapses. How are they reinforced? Because a lot of people don't understand that. And how does negative thinking become a pattern? Do you know that from a neurological point of view? I think that is by repetition, because you reinforce it. What is your experience in that?
So when we are in that space, it becomes cyclic. It becomes a circle. And it's very difficult to spot it oneself. It's very difficult that when you are the negative person in the room, that you know that you are the negative person in the room. So it becomes always with self-awareness, and also with a dash of self-compassion, I would say, to take it with oneself and say, is there a better way for me? Is there a better way? Just asking the right questions. Is there a better way? Instead of the judgment, because that would be by default, or because of our negativity thinking, to say, I'm always a negative, I'm always this. And it's not about that. It's about, is there a better way for me? How can I do this better? How can I live a better life? How can I enjoy this Christmas, for example, in a better way, like truly enjoy it, truly be myself. So what happens, a lot of things happen when we are stuck in this. It's a blind spot, and this blind spot of negativity bias, that's what it's called bias, because we don't see it. We are not aware of that most of the time. We start making our own prophecies. With my luck. I never win anything. Everything bad happens to me. I'm always the last one. I'm always the loser. I'm always at the losing end. I always get the short end of the stick. I never this. So every time we find ourselves in the position of I'm always, I never. Let's take a step back, take a deep or small breath in and think, is this true? Who is that? What is this thought? Is this really true? And challenge in the nicest, softest possible way that intrusive thinking, because it's a habit. It's only a habit. It's only a thought. And our thoughts, guess what? Our thoughts are ours. And because they are ours, we can change them. And then little by little, thought by thought is a training. I cannot emphasize this enough. There is seldom an overnight shift. It's a process. And for every person, this looks different. Some people say, that's it. I don't want this life anymore. I deserve to be happy. I'm going to do everything to be happy and enjoy my life. And they go and do it. They find the help, they find the resources, and they stick to it. Or some people say no, and that's okay, because it looks different for everyone. So the important thing to remember is that it is a training. Neuroplasticity, it's a training. You can feel immediate benefits. Yes, definitely. When there's the two things. One, you can stop or reduce negative thinking, and the other one, you can increase positive thinking. One of those, both of them are beneficial, but one of them has even more benefits. Which one do you think it is?
Yeah. We have to think really hard about these questions, because there could be still a way of changing it, but it's impossible, Olivia. You don't understand my situation. Exactly. My situation is different from everyone else. I have this problem. And yet, to be honest, I saw people on wheelchair, people who haven't been out of bed for years, people who are very ill or who are very, very poor and financially destitute, and they are way happier than the normal people going out and about every day, because they found the small things to focus on. I think life happiness must have to do with focus on what really counts and what the small things. And this habit of thinking is simply these neurons wiring together, firing together. So sometimes we have a problem that there are dynamics in the family that keep repeating themselves. So a child comes to their mom and says, "Mom, so-and-so problem." The mom replies, "Oh, but you, da-da-da-da." And then the child replies, "But I can't do it because, da-da-da." And every time they end up in the same argument. So when it comes down, the mom hears the question and she replies always in the same way. And then the child will reply in that way, and they keep having the same argument. And there are families that keep going round and round and round. Why don't you get out of that bed? Why don't you go and do exercise? Why don't you eat better? Why don't you do... And then they reply, and it goes round and round. And because we are used to that, and the mind likes what is familiar. And in the same way, we have the same argument all the time, and we don't stop, do we? We have the same argument inside our very chattering mind with a negative committee that is spitting judgment all the time and say, this terrible thing is going to happen. And you guys listening to me will know, because I said this so many times, lots of my anxiety clients keep having this chattering going, yeah? And so I give him a little sign that says, to the negative committee sitting in my head, sit down and shut up, because I have enough of the negative committee, because they have to find something wrong all the time. I just don't get it. What is their job? And they're trying to protect us from something or make us feel good. Absolutely. But they're not getting there.
I like that. The negative committee. Absolutely. So, absolutely. We don't know that. We really don't know. And the proof is that we don't know. The proof is for the negative committee, their argument is that, well, I am working because you are still alive. If you were dead, I would not have been doing my job. But as long as you're alive, it means that I am helping. That's why negative thinking is something to even be grateful for, because it really has helped us being alive. I mean, it's an imperfect solution. Yes, granted. It's not perfect 100% of the time. like everything, you can have too much of a good thing. When you let it be the driver of your life, be the driver of your feelings, be the driver of your actions and your thinking, it can't be. It needs some balance, because we don't live in a society where we need to be afraid of being eaten by a lion. We didn't know a lot we didn't have the science. We didn't live in actual houses. We just didn't. We relied on our tribe. We were in the wild nature, and we knew this. That's why even when we are sleeping, our negative committee, as you call it, is still up. It's a reticular. It's our primitive brain. It's our survival mode. And I think that's a powerful, beautiful thing to recognize, that we have something inside of us it's always protecting us, always looking out to remove danger, to see obstacle, so to alert us of obstacles, so we don't fall into the trap. So we just need to acknowledge it. And when that negative committee starts their session for the day, with this, but don't do a presentation, you're going to fail, don't be silly, and it gives you the jitters, you just need to say, oh, thank you for letting me know I'm safe. It's okay. It's only a meeting. It's only public speaking. I'm fine. It's safe. There's no danger. I'll survive. Thank you for letting me know. Oh, right. Okay. Thank you. And then the negative committee starts learning what its new place should be. And we start over time, because it's a training. The more we do it, we recondition our feature, negativity bias, to our advantage. To put it really, to channel it into place where we actually need it. So if we're going to try something new, because yes, we like the familiar. Familiar means it's proven, tried and tested that it won't kill you. Therefore, we will continue eating what we eat. We will continue doing the same routine every day for 50 years, because that's proven that it's helping us, right? So the unfamiliar means danger, means risk. So yes, a lot of people, most of us, have some resistance to some kind of unfamiliarity, because it brings uncertainty. So what to do? Try little baby steps. Try something unfamiliar, something new in a controlled way. You do it yourself. If you always eat, I don't know, tomatoes, because, a lot of children eat tomatoes or like to eat one thing, and because that's so strong in our brains that they say, well, we know tomatoes didn't kill you. They didn't make you sick. They didn't do any harm to you. Stick to this. If ain't broken, don't fix it. That's the mentality we have. And what we need to do is to start venturing out in little things, simple things. If I always take the same road to work, I'll take maybe a shortcut or a longer route. If I always leave at the same time to work again, if I leave at 8:15, can I leave at 8:10? Shock, and see what happens. Because what happens when then we start creating our own prophecies. It's called schemas. When you say, oh, but it's going to go that bad for me. I never win. I can never lose some weight. I'm really terrible at discipline. I can't do diets. I can't do that. I always put weight on Christmas time. That's not for me. And then when you do, because you are constantly telling that story to yourself, come Christmas, you overeat, you do everything you said you were going to do. And then you put on weight, you say, see, I told you, I was right. That is called a schema. Or in other words, we create our own prophecies. The flip side is that we can create better prophecies for ourselves. We're so amazing at creating the prophecies that we create, that it almost seems impossible that a different version of ourselves, a different version of our life, a different reality can also be created. But it can, and it does. Lots of people do it all the time because that's how we work. We just need to be aware of that. We just need to be aware of there's an alternative path of possibility.
Yes. And it's very good that you gave us these suggestions, which I was going to ask you for, but here they are. It's trying something small. And having worked for years with anxiety patients, you see that this is the number one thing that helps them, because for years they said, I'm protected, I'm not going out of a house, so I'm safe because I will not have a panic attack. But then after 3-4 years, and I had a couple of that, they're like, I'm so fed up of being home, but when I go out now, I get a panic attack. I say, all right, let's go out. Let's visualize going out. Let's see step by step what you can do when you're out to have fun and focus on something else. And when I went out with a patient right after the session, after 4 years she was home, now going out, and we went to a grocery store and we looked at stuff, and she hadn't been in a grocery store for 4 years. It was Christmas time. She was like touching the stuff, and I was like, what's the color of that? And what does your body feel like? Is it cold? Do you have hands? Look at your hands. She was looking at everything else. She had no idea. An hour and a half in the grocery store, she had no idea about panic attacks. And she went home and she's cured, absolutely cured. She cured herself by doing the very thing that she thought was going to kill her. But it's not going to kill you because you know better. But the negative committee was there. And the more you listened to those, the more you are likely to think, I was right. I'm so alive now. I'm very protected. But life is not about being always safe and protected, because life is worth living if we're doing something, if we're taking risks. Otherwise, we can't really enjoy that. We're just like a stone then, just sitting there.
Yeah, that's right. And then imagine how small a thing to be able to enjoy a trip to the supermarket, enjoying touching a tomato, enjoying touching fresh produce, looking at all the colors, getting all the smells, all the senses. And it's something that most of us do every day and just enjoy it, not much to enjoy. And sometimes I like going to a supermarket, so I'm biased to that. But for a lot of people, they don't even like it. They just go and do it as a routine. But imagine doing that little for your client. That was a big step, of course, but having that sense of enjoyment for something so simple, and that comes again with the training. You can enjoy, you can train yourself to enjoy what you like. So and one thing that works really well, a tip, fast tip, cheap because it's free, that you can do is make a list of all the things you enjoy, what you like. Make it as long as possible. It doesn't matter. The more the merrier. What do you like? Do you like clouds? Do you like the color, purple? Velvet? Perfumes? Laughing? Dancing? You name it. Make a list of all the things you enjoy. Looking at the starry night, all of that. And then from there, you can start looking at your list and choose one every day, or two, and maybe in a good day, 5 of those. And start from there, building up, because we already have everything we need. We just don't know how to unlock it.
Fantastic. That is a perfect closing statement, because we need to go now. But I would like to ask you where we can find you. So if anyone has questions and would like to work with you, maybe they have a website where they can go to?
Yes, I do. It's you can go to Olivia Brito, all one word, Brito with B for Bravo, oliviabrito.com. You can find me there.
Olivia Brito. And of course, you speak perfect Spanish. So you are bilingual, so you can work as well. in
Yes.
in Espanol or Mexican, I don't know how we just call it.
Spanish.
And Spanish, and you can help both. And we have lots of people here who speak two languages here in England, but you work worldwide, so you're able to help, and there will be resources for you guys. If you're going to look in Olivia's website, you will find lots of wisdom. So I'm so thankful for you. Thank you so much, Olivia, for being into my show today.
Thank you very much, Franz. It's been a pleasure. I really enjoyed the time. Thank you for your insightful questions and for having me here.
All right. And thank you guys for listening to this. We know how busy you are in the time preceding Christmas, and we hope that you will be able to find joy in the small little things, and not just in eating lots of foods, but just in cuddles and being around people, and sometimes just being with yourself for a little while to breathe again and realign and remember what really matters. And most of the time it's the small things and the relationships above all the consumerism and the gift and the money and the cars. What matters is, are you aligned with your values? Are you living a life of purpose? And what can you do to live a better life? So these are precious things we talked about. So thank you so much. Share the episode with anyone that might enjoy listening to it. And I'll see you all next week. Take care, everyone, and bye-bye. You've listened to Create with Franz Sidney.